Stewart, you can take off your mask.
Okay, people of the state of Michigan versus Stewart Allen Udvardy. This is file 2123640. Mr. Udvardy pled to a charge of fleeing and eluding in the third degree, which is a felony punishable by up to 5 years, and operating while intoxicated, a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail. And Mr. Udvardy is here appearing by video with his attorney, Mr. Bush, and Mr. Gabriel is the prosecutor. Mr. Bush, any objection to continuing on video today?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so in terms of the body of the report, any additions, corrections, or deletions?
I have none. Mr. Udvardy had an opportunity to review it. We discussed it. He told me the report is correct.
I have none, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And the agent recommends the prior record variable be scored at 0 points, level A.
Obviously, no objection.
None, Your Honor.
In terms of offense variables, I find OV9 should be scored at 10 points in that 2 to 9 people were placed in danger by the defendants fleeing and eluding. Any objection to that?
That's fine.
I do not object, Your Honor.
All right, so that would make it a 40 offense variable points, level 4. Any dispute?
No, Your Honor.
That would raise his guideline range from 0 to 8 to 0 to 11. All right, with that, what I'm inclined to do is to order probation with services to be provided to Mr. Udvardy and to go accordingly. But I'd like to hear the input of the attorneys and Mr. Udvardy. Mr. Bush?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Udvardy is making steps in the right direction. He's maintained the same employment for upwards of 3.5 months. He works the second shift. We're getting some background noise, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Mr. Udvardy's at work, so we're gonna have to deal with that, so.
Okay, I'll just speak louder, that's fine. He does
Mr.
have...
Udvardy, if you could just hold the camera still and not talk to anybody else, tell them to leave so you can do this, okay? Go ahead.
Yeah.
He has what I would call a self-created sobriety. He's been trying to, and I believe somewhat successfully, abstaining from use of any intoxicants. In my dealings with him, he has been remorseful. I would point out he has no prior felonies. He was cooperative with the DOC. He has the support of his family. The day I first met him, and I often jot this down because they speak from the heart sometimes, and he told me he wants to get his life on track. Well, that's pretty insightful, and that's really what he needs to do. And I have no problem with a probation. I think that would be appropriate. That would mandate services he needs to make the lifestyle changes he has to make to be successful.
Thank you. Mr. Udvardy, what would you like me to know?
I'm sorry for everything that happened, and just letting on the hope and that Mr. Bush said.
Okay. So what I heard you say is that you're sorry for what happened. You're glad nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
You want to get your life back on track, and you've been working towards that. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Gabriel?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I do think that probation would be appropriate in this case. When one looks at his comments under substance abuse treatment, he indicates he's never received treatment for drugs or alcohol. Alcohol, actually back in 2017, when he was arrested for being a minor in possession of alcohol, it says that he failed to complete the alcohol highway safety class in the community service hours. He's a young man. He's already had multiple brushes, usually always involving alcohol. And now it's escalated into him being intoxicated and taking off from the police. I do think a short period of probation in which we can ensure that he's not drinking and possibly get him involved in some substance abuse counseling would help him achieve the goals and do what he wants to get his life on track.
Thank you. I also agree. This is a case, I find that it's better to get you services as soon as possible rather than after a couple of convictions already, so as to avoid those. So I'm going to order 1 year probation, subject to the terms of probation that the Department of Corrections is going to prepare. One of those is going to be a substance abuse test and treatment. One's going to be possible CBT. Your history shows that you have started drinking about 4 years ago, or at least your first charge of minor in possession was 4 years ago, and then you had a couple of those, and then you've had a series of driving while license suspendeds, which are concerning in that it shows that you don't take court orders seriously, but you'll deal with that. Then you have an open intox, and then this fleeing and eluding was very dangerous and under the influence. So I find there's a need for probation. I find there's a need for counseling. The goals of the counseling are for you to maintain sobriety. The goals of probation are for you to maintain sobriety, develop a strong network of services, and to get a handle on that. You can complete your probation at the halfway point, as long as you have completed all the other terms of probation that you're needed to do. In addition, you have 1 day credit, 1 day served, $60 DNA fee, $68 state cost, $130 crime victims assessment, and, oh, I'm sorry, no, it would be $118, $68 for the felony, $50 for the misdemeanor, and there's a court cost of $527 and a fine of $100. All right, so Mr. Udvardy, your sentence is pursuant to your plea. It's within the guidelines. You're going to be given 3 forms advising you of what your rights on appeal are. I'd ask you to sign 1 copy acknowledging that you received them. If you wish to appeal, you need to fill the rest out, return to the court within 42 days. Don't go anywhere. I need to talk to you off the record, give you some information as to what you need to do next. But the one thing you need to do next is, contact your probation agent.